What's going on, y'all?
We're back again with you.
What we talking about today?
We're going to talk about why so many witnesses are leaving.
We're going to get straight to the point. Now, make sure y'all stick around to the end because we're going to show y'all even more evidence on why more and more people are leaving and what's going on at the hall right now.
So, first of all, I don't know when all of you guys decided to leave, but we left when? 2020?
Yeah, right before COVID.
Or it was in the middle of COVID.
In the middle of it, yeah.
So right around 2020. But I remember thinking back whenever I was younger and the Kingdom Hall being full. Like there was so many people in the Kingdom Hall, and it seemed as though as I got older, less and less people were in attendance.
That's facts.
And not even just at the Kingdom Hall, but even thinking about assemblies and conventions. Like, I remember the assemblies, you could barely get a parking spot.
Right, at one point in time.
Yeah.
And thinking back, so I know our congregation, it was on average close to 200. I remember when I was younger, they would do the attendance, it would be like 200, and it would be seats packed. And then our conventions, I don't know about y'all's, ours would hit around 4,000. And even I remember the conventions would start way earlier in the summer and they would last until it was almost time to go, back to school for people. And then remember the conventions got smaller.
They condensed them.
And then it went from being from May to August to like June and July a little bit, remember?
Yeah, and even the Sunday days would get shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy how that turned out. But looking back, it's like you didn't realize until now. It's like the meetings did get smaller, and then remember all of a sudden we had to merge.
Yes, that's what proved it right there is whenever we started having to merge Kingdom Halls. We were still going whenever they began merging all of the Kingdom Halls. But I remember like we would have 4 different congregations at one Kingdom Hall.
It did used to be like that, didn't it?
Yeah, it was multiple congregations. They would meet at different times. And then they merged, like the one that I went to, they merged ours with another one. And even brought a 3rd congregation from outside of our Kingdom Hall.
Into y'all's.
Yes, and renamed the whole thing.
Dang, I forgot about that.
It was almost like 3 congregations that had been merged into one.
That did happen. I remember that also when we were going to the hall. Ours, and I remember a lot of people was pissed, and then they had to counsel certain people on being obedient and listening because some people was like, I don't like this hall, I'm out.
Yeah, because they were separating a lot of people too. Like depending on where your address was or who was in charge of your field service group, then they would merge like the whole field service group with one hall, and then another one would be with this one. Yeah,
but what's weird is every year in the yearbooks it shows growth. Growth. The chariot is moving. We're growing, but we were so caught up in the publications that this is the truth that we lose touch of reality. You literally
simply
can
look around.
You realize a lot of people, even so me being from 20 years old to 21, 22, 23, more and more people around us was getting disfellowship, including me. Yeah. And a lot of those people didn't come back. And that's just my group. And that's every generation that start off young. Little by little, people fall off.
Yep. We were just looking today at a statistic that said that, 70,000 Jehovah's Witnesses leave per year, like per disfellowshipping, and about 2/3 of them never come back. So that's not even including the people who voluntarily leave. Like, we're both someone this time that voluntarily left. Like, we didn't get disfellowshipped or anything. We just left.
Yeah, we just bounced. We just faded. Like, oh, we out.
Yep, so that's not even including those people. So who knows how many people are actually leaving per year.
And they probably keep track and don't tell us. They constantly tell us it's growing.
Yep. All right, babe. So why do you think Jehovah's Witnesses are leaving?
Why are they leaving?
Yeah.
Oh, there's multiple reasons why they're leaving. One of the biggest right now, we are in a world full of technology. Yes. And things are changing and it's harder to control, people right now. So think about this. The number one rule about being a Jehovah's Witness that you are constantly told, do not do. Do not look at nothing online. Do not watch no videos. Don't read nothing. And come on, it was a point in time where you couldn't really have the internet on your phone. So you only had the computer at home. Now your computer is right there in your pocket
and
all
not
the
just
time.
that, but you had to do it intentionally. So you were intentionally going to a computer and looking something up. But now we have all these like ads and things that just randomly pop up on our phones.
We got apps now, algorithms sending stuff into your feed.
It's much easier to come across some kind of apostate information than it was before. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a major thing. Do not, and what's so crazy, once I woke up, this is a illustration, as they call it, that I came up with. Constantly told, don't look nothing up. Do not look nothing up. I think of the example, if I'm like, babe, do not look in this phone. No matter what you do, just don't look in it.
Oh, I'm looking at it.
In what world, right? Because in what world is, or if a little kid hide something behind their back like this, what you got? Nothing? Like, I can give you multiple examples of somebody saying, hey, don't look in there. Don't look behind you. What? Like, so many examples of don't do something will make you automatically look. But with this, everybody is so obedient. Like, don't look online. Okay. No, anybody with common sense. Well, what you got to hide? Because I think on it might have been on a YouTube video in the comments, somebody said there is no way that if you have the truth, Google cannot destroy truth.
I was just about to say that. Like, I was literally just about to say that. But if your religion is the truth, then it doesn't matter what comes against it. It should be able to defend itself because it's the truth.
It's the truth. You can't break truth.
Yes.
No matter how you try.
Yeah, and I think it's super manipulative to try to hide negatives of an organization.
This perfect.
Yeah, well, they don't say that they're perfect. They make sure to say that they're an imperfect organization, but all their actions are like, we're perfect. We are the truth. You know,
it's the people are imperfect.
But the governing body, like, they make sure to act like everything that they say is truth.
Everything.
You know, so you have to trust us. You have to obey us. If you're not obeying us, if you're not trusting us, then really you aren't trusting or believing Jehovah. And they equate themselves to Jehovah.
Even though we don't always get things right, but
trust us
anyways. Even if it doesn't make sense, still trust our word. And what sense is that in? When me and my uncle was having this conversation, because he's still a witness, and they can't wrap their minds around, you know, well, why don't you believe this, and that? And my question was, I care about my mama. I love my mama more than anything in the world because that's the first person I knew.
Yeah.
What can a stranger put online to make me never talk to my mama again?
Yeah.
I asked my uncle that. He couldn't answer. I'm like, okay, so if I believe in Jehovah, I'm supposed to love Jehovah more than anything. This organization, I should love more than anything. I've been studying this for years, day after day after day. What can some stranger or some miserable apostate put on Google to make me be like, I ain't never going back to the hall?
Exactly. Because it's so crazy because as soon as you're exposed to that information, it like almost haunts you. Yeah. Like you can't look away from it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, wow, I finally found some of the answers that I was looking for. Yeah. And I found information that I almost wish I would have never seen because now I'm looking at the governing body in a completely different light.
Right, because it all leads down to you were told so much not to look at this, and when you finally look at it,
everything makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
It's like, no wonder they told me not to look at it. And then you begin to distrust everything that they're saying, because if you could put so much emphasis on this one thing, and I finally go against it,
then what else?
What else is there that you're hiding that you're so strong about? Like, even when it comes to their donations and things, you know, I can't get over that. Yeah. I cannot get over the fact that they get all of this free manual labor. And it's just a bunch of like brainwashed labor workers, and we're so happy to do it, you know, because we're making Jehovah so happy.
But Jehovah is actually the governing body.
Yes, and they're literally getting you to build these kingdom halls using all of your skills, right? Sending them your air miles and all of your sky miles, and sending them points for the hotels. Doing
all of this stuff, but it's a business.
It's a straight business.
All right, so what are some things that'll lead a person to even getting into not listening and wanting to be like, what's out there? What are they talking about?
Well, I think that most of us are subconsciously curious about what kind of information there is out there.
You're right.
Even for me, like whenever I'm sitting there in the Kingdom Hall and I'm listening to what they say versus maybe a personal study that I had done, you can see inconsistencies in how like a Bible verse is being used.
Yeah.
It's like people will just take the Bible verse and use it in whatever way matches what it is that they're talking about in that moment.
Like the paragraph and then quoting it at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it'll just be one small verse. Even when it comes to like the 144,000, they take that one small verse, make it literal, and then the rest of it is all, not literal.
Right. But you wouldn't even think that, question that because it's in the middle, it's this paragraph and then it's a scripture.
And not just that, it's such a profound teaching of the Jehovah's Witnesses. So if so many people are saying it and saying that is what it is,
right? It's
like, okay, well, who am I to question them? They've been a Jehovah's Witness for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
They must have studied this Bible better than I did.
He's the elder. He's the CEO. This is the governing body. This is, we had district overseers at one time. So things like that can definitely take a toll.
Exactly. Were there any kind of personal questions that you had? I know you have.
I don't know. It was a lot of stuff that, like you said, subconsciously didn't sit right. Like one thing for me was, when you die, you just don't exist. Yeah. And I could never, there's like you are in Jehovah's memory. Like he can just remember you. And I would be like, well, what would he remake you out of?
Yeah.
And that, it just never made sense that you, like we are so much personality or a person, walk in and they energy, you just, man, they light the room up.
You can feel it.
You feel it. Or if you upset, you can feel somebody's upset even though they don't look like it. Just like, what's wrong? So all of that you feel in the person just don't exist. That was one thing.
It was difficult for me to even teach that to like my Bible studies and stuff. I remember my friend, like I was studying with her, but as soon as we got to that chapter in the Bible Teach book, her grandma had passed away, and she's like, I just can't let go of the fact that my grandma is watching me from heaven.
Right.
Like I totally, even in that moment, I like totally empathized with her, and I'm like, if I had that same thought and that same teaching, I wouldn't want somebody coming in and robbing that of me and telling me,
you gotta wait.
Oh, you have to wait. Who knows how long to be reunited with them? But as of now, she is not watching over you.
And you know what sucks about the whole thing? It's called the resurrection hope. It's not the resurrection fact
sure.
or theory. It's the hope. So even all these witnesses that judge everybody, they, according to their teachings, they hoping that they can even make it.
Yeah, they don't even know if they will make it to the resurrection or if their loved ones will make it. And that's another thing is whenever somebody is disfellowshipped or has left Jehovah, it's like not just a spiritual death, but a endless death. So they won't be resurrected. Is basically what the teaching is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot of teachings like Satan being let out the abyss. After 1,000, like, dang, we gotta do this again. What was the point of us all making it? Like, is this like a video game where it's levels to it? Like, this is crazy. That was another one. I can go on and on. It was many things. One time in service, his sister had said, Jehovah only created humans to love. Animals don't love. And I was just like, you try to touch a cub, like a lion. The lions don't play about like animals in general. Like that's it. Certain things just didn't make sense.
Yes, and a lot of times it was their spin on things. Like you can't trust a imperfect person to perfectly understand the Bible.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's basically what what Jehovah's Witnesses do.
We have accurate Bible knowledge, right? That's what we would tell everybody.
Yeah.
But in reality, and
that's what the governing body tells Jehovah's Witnesses too. Is what they have learned is accurate,
the most accurate, even though we have to change it. So what do you think it takes for somebody to even cross that line?
Disobedience.
High key.
Yeah, eventually you have to disobey the governing body's teachings of not looking
in order to find out.
Yeah.
And even when you look up the stuff on this organization, just a simple Google search, we'll insert it right here.
Whew.
Listen, when you Google, it's mind blowing. Like, you can scroll, you can even click onto the next page of Jehovah's Witnesses lawsuits, child abuse, this going on, that going on, Kingdom Hearts sold, money, this going on with the money. They playing with money that we had no clue they had. Being linked up with people who they said were evil and part of Satan's world. They were like, all of this stuff is on the internet just by, like you said, being disobedient.
Google search.
Yep, that disobedience is how we all got. If you watching this video right now, it's because you were disobedient to the organization.
Either you looked up something or you went and bought Crisis of the Conscience.
One or the other. But you found,
or both. You might have even done both.
Yep, and even some people realized something wasn't right, but they just stayed. They left the organization, but didn't get this far until down the line to where they actually are looking up this stuff. But at some point, the disobedience to them was actually us being obedient to ourselves because we felt something in our gut. Just, it wasn't right.
And that's the thing. It's like a lot of times you really can trust those gut feelings. A lot of times our gut feelings are correct because your body recognizes when something is the truth.
Right.
You know, so you start feeling your stomach turning like, oh, this doesn't sound right. But then you purposely push it to the back of your mind, you know, when you're stuck in something like that. So.
Yep, because you're being manipulated to not trust yourself. That's a whole different topic.
That's a different topic.
Yeah, with this organization, to not trust within yourself because you're unworthy. You're a sheep. You're a follower.
Yes.
You're all these things constantly put into your mind that not trust yourself and trust us. And eventually, you stop trusting.
You know what? Also, a lot of times people leave because they're just mentally exhausted.
That's true.
And in that time period, they end up getting enough energy to almost like come together
because you're within not distracted.
Themselves.
Yeah.
That's one thing that the organization is able to do very well is distract you within the organization. True. So they're giving you all of these like newsletters about what happens on the outside and all these wars and chaos and all this bad stuff that's happening. Right. So you're almost feared into clinging onto the organization tightly because you feel this world is about to end. Like look at all this bad stuff that's going on. Yeah. They stay in the loop with the news, okay? They know what's going on.
They give you their version of it.
Yeah, they make sure to leave out any negative things about themselves, but they tell you about everybody else, okay?
Yeah.
And how Jehovah's Witnesses are like excelling in these moments.
Yeah, remember the one, this was maybe
in Russia?
Years? No, this was in Eritrea in Africa. So I remember seeing this probably months beforehand about Christians in Eritrea were arrested because in that area Christianity was banned.
Yeah.
And so they locked up all these Christians and then they started to release some. The witnesses had posted an article because my family put it in the group chat that Jehovah's Witnesses have been released from prison in Eritrea and this is Jehovah's work. And I sent my family the real article, like this article says nothing about Jehovah's Witnesses because Christianity is not allowed over here. But no witness would actually think to go and look up the original page, the original information. Yes. It's just like Jehovah's blessing us. No, this had nothing to do with no Jehovah's Witnesses. Anybody that was into the Bible in this area was locked
Anybody
up.
Who was a Christian in general
was.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. Like they spin it in a way to make it seem like, wow, Jehovah's Witnesses are doing so well. Jehovah keeps blessing us. Yep. But when bad things happen, it's like, that's the devil. We need to pray for them and keep asking Jehovah for faith and all these things. But it's
which is it?
Yeah, which is it? Like you're accrediting all the bad stuff to just being Satan's world, but then as soon as something good happens, it's immediately Jehovah.
And then flip it around. So if you leave the organization, like us being happy, a witness would say Satan is helping them be happy. But if something bad happened, see, Jehovah's punishing them.
Yeah.
So now it's the exact opposite.
Now it's the opposite. Like it just makes no sense.
Like are they Jehovah and Satan taking turns with the blessings? Like you blessing now, my turn. Like do Satan bless people now? Like come on, make it make sense.
Right, that part. So our last reason is what, babe? Why are people leaving?
this covers a lot of things. We'll start with being treated unfairly. So that can be being disfellowshipped or being reproved or just people being judgmental, treating you just unfairly, being shunned. This all falls under not being treated fairly. And this causes a lot of people to be like, you know what, man, I'm out. But they might not necessarily wake up at that moment. This just may be, you know, I need to be away from this.
It was their last straw. But they might still have the same thoughts and beliefs that other Jehovah's Witnesses carry. They're just not currently associating themselves with the organization.
Yeah, and they hold on to the beliefs still. They just, like you said, they don't go no more.
Yeah.
And what helps is sometimes with us not being as distracted, this is when we woke up because, and thankfully, you know, this is during COVID and we not having to go to the meetings no more, so we get to slow down. We ain't having to go on service.
It's like we were forced to slow down.
Yeah, I moved to a new state and we slowed down, and during this time you were a lot more relaxed. You're not constantly distracted with, you got to study this, got to go on service, got to get up Saturday morning, then Sunday morning if you got the Sunday morning meetings. So what helps sometimes is people, they get treated unfairly, and this actually works out in your favor because everything works out in your favor. Even things that don't work out in your favor, it was meant to happen. Like for us,
right?
Looking back, being a witness benefited us in some way. Maybe it's something it distracted you from, or maybe you met somebody that helped you with, you know, your career. And even though you're not a witness no more, now you an IT guy because you met brother so-and-so back in 2007. Like everything works out. We met because we were in a cult.
Yeah.
And now we escaped and we get to be who we want to be.
And I actually feel like it helped us out a lot because it helped us to actually think about anything that's presented to us.
Yep.
And before that, I don't know if we would have ever thought about it like that. You know what I mean? To like really think through different processes and things. Right. Unless we were a Jehovah's Witness first. Because
realizing something so major in your life has been a lie will make you question everything now.
Everything.
Like, all right, well, if that was a lie, something that I was supposed to be willing to die for, be willing to be locked in jail for, was a lie.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
If we are supposed to be willing to die for this organization and be locked up for the organization,
why can't I Google it?
And not just that, everything better be consistent. Like,
right.
I need consistency. Like, everything that you're showing me better be like right. There is no change ups years later. I'm not okay with that.
And why can't I question you if I'm supposed to go to jail for you? And I don't even, you just one of my brothers or sisters that I don't know, but I'm supposed to be locked up for you or
die for you.
Yeah, the army supposed to be shooting at me for you, and I can't say whoa. Run that back about 1975 again. Like, don't try to shut me up.
Yeah.
What you mean you got it wrong? You supposed to be, and we'll touch this on another episode of the list of things to let you know you were in the cult. But sneak peek, one of them is the leaders. For one, you got leaders. The leaders have exclusive information that you can't get.
Yeah.
That was literally the organization. They got information.
Still the organization.
That is. They got information that we not hip to get. We gotta wait for you to go get it and then come back and then tell me about it.
Yes. Yeah. And then everything is okay. Even with something as simple as beards. We know, like, everybody knows there's not actually anything wrong with beards, okay?
Yeah.
Even people that they were putting in Bible times, like whenever they would do all of the presentations and the demos and stuff at the conventions, what they all have? Beards.
And wait, I'm sorry. This is so funny. I just thought of when witnesses go on vacation. You already know what I'm about to say. They get a little bit of a beard, and then don't run into them. Oh, they explain this up quick. Oh no, we were on vacation, and you know we went to the meeting on Thursday night. We usually go on Wednesdays. We went Thursdays, and then Friday and Saturday I let it grow, knowing if tomorrow the governing body said you can have a beard, everybody and their mama gonna grow a beard.
There was a moment in time where like certain meetings like were allowing them to have beards. So I'm like, okay, is this just an area thing? Like, I don't get what's going on.
It was an area in Ecuador where the brothers can have long hair.
Yes.
But we all serve the same organization, same God. Why do people over here get one rule?
That's how you know it's a business, because they want you looking like business people in the area.
Bingo.
Yeah, remember that's always what they said. Like they want you clean and shaven up, like how business people would be in that area. So it makes complete sense.
Yep, it's a business. Mm-hmm. And before we wrap this up, tell them about our last time we went to the hall.
Okay, this was whenever I was visiting in Ohio, and we went to your Kingdom Hall, and it was a fine meeting up until like the end. And I remember they had made an announcement like, all brothers come to the back room, you know, if you're what was it, ministerial servant, publisher, whatever the case may be.
Because remember the Watchtower article that day.
Oh, what was it about? It was about
pedophilia.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I ain't forget about that.
I forgot that that's what the Watchtower was about.
Right.
Oh, so it was done on purpose.
Exactly.
See, that's how you know how tuned out I was.
Right.
I didn't even remember what the Watchtower was about.
I thought it was super random. Like, I ain't never seen this Watchtower lesson before, but okay. But yeah, finish.
No, this is your time to shine because you're the one who got pulled into the back.
I just remember them saying there's some, crazy apostates outside. And
they purposely labeled them apostates.
Yep.
Purposely labeled them apostates. But what were they really?
They were people.
They were people that were outside protesting about how the Jehovah's Witness organization hides molestation and child predators and all these things. And it was because it matched the Watchtower
and
that
those
week.
people knew. So what they told us in the back room was, God, everybody, like, get in between them and the friends like this. Don't listen and don't look. Don't listen, don't look. So there's people out there, and it's the morning meeting. I'm like, these people got up early in the morning why they even coming up to the hall? And it's like, I ain't never even seen these people before. Like, I ain't never seen them at the hall before. Why are they saying this stuff? Yeah. And they holding signs up. And so when we going out, remember you was like, when we was in the car, you was looking. I'm like, babe, we not even supposed to be looking.
I was looking. I was curious because I remember at a convention that we were at one time, they had made like a barricade, like of all the brothers between us. We weren't even allowed to go past the barricade, but it's because there was a whole group of protesters outside, and it was at a convention, like a bunch of us. They had locked the doors, and we were only allowed to be on the one side of all the brothers, but the brothers literally barricaded like the whole arena. Like they about to come beat everybody up. We weren't allowed to look or anything. And I remember afterward, like we had talked about it, and they were like, oh, wasn't that so loving of the brothers? They make sure to keep us away from, like, they spun it like that. And the only loving people was the ones trying to save everybody on the other side. Those are the real loving brothers and sisters. And I just remember being so curious in those moments. Even at our last meeting, I was over there in the car because I wanted to see even whenever we had first went out. But I was in the car and I'm like, look, I would be that one person in the Bible who looked back and turned into Saul. Like, for real, yeah, you would have looked at me Saudi, or you would have read them signs. But yeah, so leading into that, that's another thing that a big majority of people just waking up right now are finding out about the pedophilia, and we'll even put it, boom, right here. If you just happen to Google, it was in 2017. I don't even know if this is still going on right now, but this leads back into the beginning when we told y'all to stay tuned. They had told them to release some documents. Yeah. And they even have, it proves the elders have their own book that none of us were allowed to read. That was another thing they needed them to release. The elders manual. The organization refused to let these people see the documents in court. So they charged them $4,000 per day. Per day. And they didn't care. They kept the stuff to themselves and they let it rack up. And at that point in 2017, they racked up to $2 million, which leads back into, remember the halls got empty and we start selling them? All the merging. And not just that, they were taking money out of different trusts and things. Yep. Because that's not the only lawsuit that they had to pay for. There was actually another lawsuit in Hawaii, and they just settled it this year, but it was for $40 million. Yep. And there was another one for $30-something million
around the same time of all this when the big lawsuits were going on. When all of a sudden we start selling Kingdom Halls like the end of the world was coming.
And asking for donations from the platform.
But and
we could take cards now.
Right.
Remember?
And think about, so put this in the business aspect. When you throw a big old convention.
Yeah.
Money.
That's all it is.
That's what the convention is.
3 days.
3 days.
Money.
Walk around with these big boxes. We gonna sit them every so many yards. So you can't, if you miss that one, you gonna see this one.
Yep. They're everywhere.
Yep. Money. And how ironic.
And donate from jw.org.
That was another one.
You could donate from anywhere. Before, it just used to be the contribution boxes where you put a check or you put like money into.
I counted the money before. I had privileges at one point where I was counting the money and it had to be 2 of us.
How much was it?
Oh, I can say this now. It would be some of them elders. I would be looking at them checks like, me honestly, this is why you trust your gut. I have not donated no more than $40 to the organization in my whole life when I was a witness. I don't care, and I'm glad I didn't. But some of them elders was writing checks, 200, 300, 400, sometimes in the thousands.
Yep,
like
bigger than that.
Yeah, like they writing bank to these.
Leaving houses.
Yep. I remember one sister, I'm not going to say her name, but she passed away. She left the rest of her money to the organization. And it's like, oh, that's so loving. And then across from the hall I was going to out in the suburbs, it was this lady and her father. Now I know why she was so moody and mean toward us. Her father passed away and had all this land.
Yeah.
And the deal was they got to build the hall on the land and it was theirs. And in return, we had to help her redo her house. And she was mean the whole time. And her siblings didn't agree with it at all. But now looking back, it makes sense.
Oh, she wasn't a witness.
She was, but she never went to the hall.
Oh, so she wasn't a witness.
Yeah, so I don't know. They said she was a sister. Yeah. But I ain't never seen her before.
That is crazy.
Yep, so yeah.
People leave everything to this organization. Like, that is wild. And we just learned, we're going to have to make another video about this. But that, I forget what it's called now. That mansion that Brother Rutherford built.
Out in California.
Yes. What was it called?
Stay tuned on that.
Yeah, we're going to do more research and then we're going to talk about it because I just found that out like a couple days ago and I was like, what in the world?
Yep, so this is a lot of the reasons why people leaving because we finding out what's really going on and it's no way to hide this stuff no more.
I found out way more information after I left than I did whenever I was, well, obviously, whenever I was in. Yeah. You know, there was small things that were like inconsistent that would bother me, but it wasn't until I left where I was like, this organization is sick.
Like, this is it. This is a cult in a business.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But hopefully we gave y'all some more game. Keep dropping comments. We reading them. And we're going to get as much information out as we can to help everybody.
Yes.
And just shoot us some questions if y'all got any. If y'all need help, just, guiding through this whole situation. Like, we find the humor in it, but we also understand how tragic it is escaping a cult. Like, this is not normal stuff we going through.
And it's not easy, especially at the beginning. Sometimes for even longer than that.
Yeah.
But we have been reading the comments and we see the things that you guys want us to talk about. So we're working our way through, okay?
Yep, so stay tuned. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment. And we will catch y'all on the next one.
Bye.
See y'all.